Hey everybody, we are coming to you from inside Little Caesars Arena here in Detroit to show you something brand new from General Motors. That right there is the 2021 Chevy Suburban, and we're going to talk all about the new Chevy Tahoe. So in this video, I'll run down all the stats, all the specs, and then we'll talk about comparisons. What does this SUV match up with, and is it actually better than the competitors? Let's do it. We have to talk about the suspension here, guys, because there's been a big change. Back here in the rear end of these SUVs, independent rear suspension. So now they're independent all the way around. But wait, there's more. This Tahoe and Suburban can now also come with air suspension. Now, the air suspension is available on the High Country and on the Z71 models, and it has a whole bunch of different functionalities. It's auto load leveling, so if you put a trailer on the back, it's gonna pump up your rear end, make sure you ride nice and flat. It will also lower the vehicle a little bit at highway speeds to help with fuel economy, and then you actually have up to 4 inches up and down that you can adjust the height of this vehicle. So especially on the Z71, for all you off-roaders out there, you can get more body ground clearance when you're on the trail. Now it's time to talk powertrains, and what you're looking at right now is the 10-speed automatic transmission that is paired with all 3 engines in the Tahoe and Suburban. So regardless of trim and model, you're getting this 10-speed. But now let's talk engines. So come on down, we'll skip over this beast, and we'll go to this guy right here. This is the base engine for this vehicle. It's a 5.3 liter naturally aspirated V8. Now this thing is making 355 horsepower and 383 pound-feet of torque, and it is standard on S, LT, Z71, Premier, and RST. So basically, if you don't check an option box, this is the V8 you're gonna get. But if you do check an option box, you can get this beast. This is a 6.2 liter naturally aspirated V8, and it makes a pretty significant amount of power. It makes 420 horsepower and 460 pound-feet of torque, and it's only standard on one model, the High Country. So if you go right to the top of the trim line, you're getting 6.2. Besides that, it's all 5.3. But now, guys, let me show you what has to be the most exciting engine in the lineup. Yes, the Tahoe and Suburban are going diesel. Now, this is the same 3-liter unit found in the pickup trucks, and here in the SUV, it makes 277 horsepower and 460 pound-feet of torque. And just like the V8s, it's made it to that 10-speed auto. Guys, this is going to be an exciting powertrain combination, and we don't have any tow numbers yet. We don't know the tow ratings on this SUV, but I'm excited to find out what those numbers are, especially with the Duramax. Another familiar suspension technology is still here as well, and that is magnetic ride control. Now, it's standard on the Premier and High Country trims, and it's available on Z71. Now, magnetic ride control constantly adjusts the damping. It's just an insane amount of information that it takes in, processes, and then adjusts the damping on the fly so you get the smoothest ride possible, and that is still here. But guys, there's something else I want to talk to you about. It's all of this space right here because the Suburban and the Tahoe are bigger for 2021. So let's hop inside and I'll show you the seats. This vehicle we're looking at here is the Suburban, and there's a bunch changed inside. So first of all, guys, check this out. The second row now slides up to 5 inches forward and 5 inches back, so you can really get some adjustability out of the legroom here. Now, legroom in this second row has also grown to 42 inches of maximum legroom, and that's actually the same in the Tahoe and the Suburban. You're getting 42 inches here, and that's also bigger than the Expedition, which offers 41.5, so half an inch bigger than the Expedition and quite a bit bigger than the Durango. But now let's go look at the third, and I'll show you how these seats fold. So there is a handle down here on the side, fold once and fold twice just like that, and let's see how easy it is to climb in. You know what, really not bad at all climbing in here. And let me pull this seat down, we'll actually check out how much legroom is here. Wow, that's not bad. So I stand at about 6'2", and I got plenty of legroom, plenty of headroom which is always pretty impressive. A third row. These are usually pretty tight, pretty small spots. Now, for actual numbers, back here in the third row of the Suburban, we're talking about 36.7 inches of rear seat legroom. That is a ton. Now, the Tahoe doesn't have as much as the Suburban with just 34.9, but even still, these are huge third rows. So in terms of the full-size SUV space, if you're looking for legroom, well, GM is offering it. This is now the back seat of the Tahoe, and I want to talk to you guys about just how much this thing has changed in size, and the Tahoe definitely changed more than the Suburban. So this vehicle now has a 5-inch longer wheelbase, 4.9 inches technically, but we're calling it 5. The overall length has grown by 6.7 inches, so really a significant amount of length has been added to this Tahoe. Now, the second row legroom has grown by 3 inches. The third row legroom, guys, get this, 10 inches. There is 10 more inches back there than there ever was before. Now, I already climbed into that Suburban. It was pretty big back there. Now I want to climb into this Tahoe. Another thing Chevy mentioned is a much flatter floor here. So there is a bit of a hump there, but it's much smaller than it was before. So the load floor is a bit flatter if you were to try to load any long things in here. The step in height is also lower. I noticed that as well. It's pretty easy to get in here. And now finally, let's see how I fit behind this seat. Guys, not bad at all. This is almost 35 inches of third row legroom. That's impressive. And once again, even for a big fellow like me, I'm comfortable. Now, all of that extra length also results in more cargo space. So let's take a look in the back of this Tahoe. Now, back here, we actually have 10 extra cubic feet of cargo space. And once again, for the space behind a third row, this is pretty sizable. Now, the total amount of cargo room you're looking at behind the first row in the Tahoe is 122.9 cubic feet. Here's why that is impressive. That 122.9 cubic feet, that is more than the 121 cubic feet offered in the Expedition Max. So the Expedition Max, that's the long wheelbase model, it doesn't offer as much storage space behind the first row as the Tahoe does. And then of course you can still step into the Suburban. And if you do step up into the new 2021 Suburban, you're looking at 144.7 cubic feet of storage space behind that first row. That is class leading by a long shot. And there's no doubt that Chevy went to pretty great lengths to differentiate all the models in the lineup. Now, the RST is sort of the sport truck, gets those blacked wheels, the blacked out grille. And to talk even more about design, we grabbed the chief designer for the Tahoe and Suburban, and we chatted with him.
We get into the customers coming into the Chevy dealership, they're looking for more variety, more difference, what can we do for them? So we took that as an opportunity to kind of build that into the next set of product. So what you're looking at right here is the Suburban Premier. So what we wanted to do on this vehicle, as the name states, kind of a little bit more upscale personality. So you can see some of the trim. We've got a kind of Galvano and chrome execution on the grille. A little bit more sophisticated, premium in the execution. The one thing we have on all the vehicles is LED headlamps, LED tail lamps, and we have our unique signature, which is a light pipe LED graphic.
Gotcha, and that's standard across the lineup?
That'll be standard across, yes.
Got it.
So that'll be a great recognizable feature that we've got on all of our Suburban and Tahoes. But from a face, you can kind of see what happens with this. And then as you kind of step up to the Tahoe on the RST model, that's where we go a little bit more sport and a little bit more sinister, where your front end grille execution gets black, your wheels are black with a milled face, and all your trim work is black.
Gotcha.
So you really kind of get, especially on a red vehicle, you get this very sport dynamic. And then the interior is played off of, it's a black leather with red stitching and red and white accent stitching. So really a good personality play both inside and out.
Technology is not in short supply here on the interior of the Suburban and Tahoe as well. So this right here is a Suburban Premier model. So everything you see in here is standard. This is top of the line. Now, right up here in the middle, we have a 10-inch screen in the center stack. And you have to note this thing is standard across the lineup. So even the cheapest Tahoe is gonna have that 10-inch screen. That's pretty cool. Now up here in my driver instrument cluster, I get an 8-inch screen, although that's only available on certain models. It's standard on Premier and High Country. Everywhere else, you're only going to get a 4.2-inch screen. Then you're getting a head-up display, a 15-inch head-up display. Not only is that massive, but that's class exclusive. No other of these big SUVs offer a head-up display. In the back, you get not one, but two 12.6-inch LCD screens with a full rear media setup, so anybody sitting back there should be entertained all day long. Here's another feature I want to show you guys. You really do get a full surround view. Now, our passenger side door is open, that's why that's black right there, but you can see you get the front and the rear view. We can get a top-down rear view, a top-down front view. We get those side angles, which is pretty amazing. This is a hitching view, so if you have a hitch back there, you can line it right up on your trailer. And then once again, you have the two trailer assist buttons here, which will offer trailering guidelines. Now, of course, this SUV does have wireless charging for your cell phone. That's become a pretty standard thing these days. And then up here on the screen, you can also see we have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, and of course, a Wi-Fi hotspot. And one last thing I want to point out, guys, push button transmission. That's pretty interesting, and that's also a new feature for 2021. And then I know High Country is also new this year for Tahoe and Suburban, right? So does that carry a lot of what we saw in Silverado over to the SUVs, or?
Yeah, High Country is new for us, and that's kind of another step up. So what we wanted to do with High Country as well is a little bit more reminiscent of kind of outdoors, if you will. So we've got a beautiful clove interior, and some of the stitching detail and piping detail on that's a little bit more unique, if you will. It's kind of ivory, so it's a little bit lighter in color, but sophisticated in execution. And the colors on the exterior, we've got a kind of a satin gold, and we've got a chrome grille. So you get a nice play on different two-tones.
There is a ton of safety technology here we have to talk about too. Now, you already saw all of those camera angles on the inside, but that's just one of the things you can see. I have to read this list because there's so many things, I could never remember them all. So here's just a taste of some of the safety features on this Suburban. You're getting automatic emergency braking. Now, that is standard on every single model. That's a nice feature. You're also getting forward collision alert, following distance indicator, front pedestrian braking, rear park assist, IntelliBeam automatic high beams, hitch guidance for when you're hooking up a trailer, HD surround vision, that's all those camera angles, a new rear pedestrian alert, lane change alert with side blind zone alert, lane keep assist, front and rear park assist, head up display, and the list goes on, guys. So GM really spent a lot of time making sure this thing was just blanketed with safety technology. And some of the most interesting does come when you're trailering, and you also have access to the full Chevy trailering app, which gives you just a ton of different functions for when you're pulling trailers.
We did miss one trim.
Okay, yeah.
I can touch base on you.
Of course.
The Z71 trim.
Okay, yeah.
New for us here. So with that, that's kind of our off-road package, if you will. It comes with knobby tires, a little bit more track, about 25 millimeters, 30 millimeters more ground clearance.
Nice.
And you also get a kind of rolled step bar for that assist. And the biggest thing is the front ground clearance is increased with more ramp angle. So it really has an off-road persona. So visually, exterior and interior, you get a nice package on that.
Nice, okay. And that was, of course, some function and then some style too, right?
Exactly.
Kind of brings the whole package together.
Exactly.
What drove that, kind of trying to do the off-road thing in the SUV space?
Basically, kind of going back up at front as we talked, the customers come into the Chevy dealer, they're always looking for something different. So we want to make sure that we kind of offer them that range of opportunities. So for the customer that really wants to take their vehicle off-road a little bit more, this is the perfect package for them.
If you guys haven't heard already, the Chevy Suburban was actually just given its own star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. If you think of any Hollywood movie that involves the police, the FBI, the DEA, any government agency, it's almost guaranteed they're rolling up in a convoy of black Tahoes and Suburbans. So these things have just been in so many movies, Hollywood decided to recognize it. That's pretty cool. This full-size SUV space is important, especially for GM with a vehicle like the Suburban. This is the oldest running nameplate in automotive, period. So there is no doubt that there was a lot of weight placed on this redesign, and I think GM did a great job. If you look at the competitors, this thing is now outclassing the Expedition and the Durango in just about every single category. Now, there is still a few things we don't know. We don't have tow ratings, we don't have pricing, we don't have fuel economy. So you guys have to stay tuned for all of that stuff, because show, we're gonna get it to you as soon as we get it. Now, these Suburban and Tahoe, they're gonna be built at Chevy's plant in Arlington, Texas, and they're gonna go on sale in mid-2020. So guys, that's it for this video. Make sure you go below, leave a comment, let me know what you think of the new Suburban and Tahoe, and as always, click like, hit subscribe, and come back to the channel for the latest news, views, and real-world reviews. See ya.